Radio's all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Got a lot of equipment here, all sorts of stuff. We even got a turntable. My goodness. Sound like being in an airplane when you got a microphone in front of you, talking to a controller.
Here we go. And welcome to another edition of Falcon Spotlight. I'm your host, Rob Jeff, here at Cerritos College, Norwalk, California. And I'm here with my guest at this time. I'd like my guest to please introduce himself.
Yes, my name is Bill DeWitt. I'm Vice Mayor of the City of Southgate, in a town just up the road a little bit from the college here. And I've been on and off the City Council since November of 1980. And so I know where all the political bodies are buried, you might say.
Cool, cool. Tell me about the city of Southgate.
The City of Southgate is, give or take, 100,000 residents. Sometimes we're counted a little above that, sometimes a little below that in the 10-year census. And we're about 7.5 square miles of land. And we have, we're bounded on the west by Los Angeles, on the east by Downey, on the north by Huntington Park and Cudahy, and on the south by Paramount. And we are a general law city that is, as compared to a charter city, where Los Angeles and Long Beach are charter cities where they operate under a charter. And the City of Southgate is a general law city, which means it operates under the general laws of the state of California.
Perfect. Tell me, when does the council meetings happen?
We have 2 scheduled council meetings a month, and those are on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of each month at 6:30 at Southgate City Hall, which is at 8660 California in the city of Southgate, right next to the police station. But we have other meetings that occur on a regular basis also, but our actual formal council meetings, where we pay our bills and take input from the public on many items, is on those 2 council meetings. Now, we do not have a council meeting in the second, at the end of December. So in December, we just have 1 formal council meeting. But we have a number of other meetings that we participate in, that being the public access meetings and housing meetings and things of that nature. But our actual council meetings are on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of each month, with the exception of December.
Now, for those that aren't familiar with how certain professional meetings are, where they say yay or nay or Robert's Rules of Orders and stuff like that, can you explain that to our audience?
Well, we generally have a 5-member council, and we have a mayor that generally runs the meetings. Now, 2 weeks ago I ran the meeting because our mayor was back in Washington, D.C. at the Conference of Mayors. And so generally the chair runs the meeting, and in the city of Southgate, we do not get into any arguments about when people can speak or whatever on the council members, and so it's generally a very civil meeting. We do abide by Robert's Rules of Order, and to be legal, because the actions that we take have implications for individuals and for property owners, and so we want to make sure things are done properly so that they're not later on contested in court on some technicality. And so we generally have a portion of our agenda that's set aside for comments from the audience, and anyone can speak to us on any item that they want to discuss with us. Typically, the items are parking problems in our community, because we have way too many more cars than we have spaces. And I noticed that in the parking lot here at Cerritos College, it seems to be a little tight, and it took me about a good 10 minutes to find a parking place. And I think I parked in a staff parking place, so hopefully my car will be there when I get out. But it's sometimes there other issues involving our Parks and Recreation Department, or complaints on our police department, or things of that nature. So generally during the audience section, anyone can speak on any particular item. Then the other time that individuals can speak during a council meeting is if they have a particular concern about one of the items on our agenda. And the agenda items are listed on our website. We have a formal agenda packet, and people, if they're concerned about, say maybe billboard signs or street lights or things of that nature. And in this case here, we had at our last meeting an issue involving the widening of Firestone Boulevard at the LA River, and that would lead on to a new southbound on-ramp onto the southbound 710 at Firestone. And that, we had a number of people speak on that issue and concerns about ingress and egress to their property and things of that nature.
And now, tell me about life as a student. I know that sometimes one of my favorite parts about the show also is when we get to get the story of what life as a student was like. Starting off with like high school, were you in any activities, clubs, or maybe a sport or anything like that?
Well, I actually did not go to Southgate High School. I went to Dorsey High School, and I was in the sports program there. I did play a little bit of football, and I swam and worked out in the swimming. In fact, I was a sprinter and did well in that. And then I got into USC, and I swam there for a couple of years. And so it's always good to be in a sports program. I think it helps out a lot with a lot of different things.
Nice. Did you know right away what you wanted to major in?
No, not at all. You kind of just follow along and see if you can find something of interest. And I majored at SC and graduated in finance, and that led into a business career. But between that, I got a letter from Uncle Sam, and they wanted my attendance at some of their activities. This is during the Vietnamese War. And so I went in the service for a period of time and got out. And after I think after the reserve program was over, about 5 3/4 years, almost 6 years. And then I had a job offer in the city of Southgate. And that's how I ended up there.
Great, great. How did you start off? What department?
Well, I started out in the payroll department, because I had an accounting background, and working on time cards and things of that nature. Of course, now it's all automated, I guess. But we worked on a lot of different things. And then about that time, health care being offered by an employer came into effect. It was offered for the very first time. And as I recall, we had that offered through Lincoln National Insurance Company, and the cost to the employer was, I believe, $12.50 a month. And so that provided health care for the employees and their families. And of course, it's gone up quite a bit since then. I would say it's closer now to probably $1,200 to $1,400 for an employee and their family per month to offer full health care with someone like Kaiser.
I know that sometimes, oftentimes, lots of students, one of the struggles they have is maybe textbooks. Textbooks can be expensive. Tell me about your earlier jobs. Like, did you have to work while you were going to college as well?
Well, when I was a student at SC, I had a part-time job at the LA Times, downtown Los Angeles. And that was a learning experience in and of itself. And so I worked there for about 2 years. And at the time, the Times required that if we shot photographs somewhere, it had to be with a 4x5 speed graphic camera, the old press cameras, with the flash bulbs that would almost explode when they lit up. And by the time I left 2 years later, they accepted 35 millimeter as a format for photographs for the Times. And the reason was the Times darkroom facilities only had provision for handling 4x5 negatives, and for the newspaper, and the prints had to be in on the editor's desk by about 10 o'clock in the evening for the next morning's newspaper. And of course, then by the time I left there, they had purchased enlargers and equipment to process 35 millimeter film in addition to the 4x5 film. And I still have that old 4x5 camera. It's very heavy, very bulky, but they're good cameras.
Great. We'll be right back after these public service announcements.
How we doing?
Hi, I'm
Pretty
Cassie
good.
from Meet Me on Main Street.
My name is La Cherie from the Single Life Show.
I'm Chris from the Pandemonium Show.
And I'm Bobby from the
Like what,
Pandemonium
the
Show.
show?
You can help support WPMD, and it's easy.
Just visit our website,
I don't hear much about
WPMDonthenet.com.
Once you get there, click on the Amazon.com banner near the top of the page.
That'll take you to Amazon.com.
Then just shop as you always do.
WPMD will get a percentage of your purchase.
And so will the Cerritos College Foundation.
And it won't cost you any extra money.
It's a great way to help WPMD.
And get all those great bargains at the same time.
Remember, just go to WPMDonthenet.com.
Click on the Amazon.com banner
And start shopping.
It's your way to make a difference for the place where people make a difference.
WPMD on the net.
Thank you.
Roughly.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Right, Casey? Like around 25,000 students probably?
It's a big deal.
Yeah, somewhere
It's a
around
big
there.
deal.
You're up wrong.
Okay.
If you so lost the ability to walk, what would you remember about your final step?
So, don't write legislation.
Who were
Clubs,
with?
organizations,
Or
they'll go
how
up
you used
to
the
them,
strength
and
to
they'll
take just
ask for
one
funding.
more step someone
And
cared
the
about?
senators, they're
Things
the
they
elected
else lose
officials,
power
the
to use
students.
their legs. De Salmiel hold someone close
And
and simply I love you.
every
before
senator
losing
represents
the
500
ability
students
to
in the
breathe.
population.
Most often, they
And then
remember the world
that's
around
how
them
they
as their bodies gradually shut off and die.
help out.
You know someone with it is to know it must be stopped. Those effects need your support. Join the AL Association's Walk to
Well, we
Defeat
have the
ALS.
bookstore
The
here.
hopeless find treats
Yeah,
and acute
and we have
liver
another one that's
disease.
across the street.
Find
It's
out
like separate from
at
the campus.
walkdefeatals.org.
So students have options here. Oh, let me read this real quick. WPMD Super Bowl Super Show promo. Before you watch the Super Bowl, listen to WPMD Friday, 5 Pacific. It's the second annual WPMD Super Bowl show. Chris B. and Bobby from Pandemonium and Chris from the Hot Corner will anchor the coverage, and they'll look at every aspect on the game, the history, the matchups, everyone's picks from who will win Super Bowl 50. And the whole Super Bowl experience, the commercials, the halftime game show, the announcers, TV coverage. It'll be a look at the game and the whole unofficial holiday that you won't get it anywhere else. Join us Friday at 5 p.m. Pacific with the special rebroadcast on the Super Bowl Sunday at 1:30, leading right up to the game. It's the second annual Super Bowl Super Show only on WPMD.net. The voice of Cerritos College, where people make a difference. And we are back on the air here on Falcon Spotlight here at WPMD Studios located in Norwalk, California, Cerritos College. Now I'm back here with my guest. Now you mentioned the LA Times. That's a pretty good job to have, being a student. Tell me, how did you get in?
Well, that was a long time ago. I'm trying to remember. Somebody introduced me down there, and they needed somebody to handle college sports work, basketball games, football games, and things of that nature. And I was pretty handy with a camera, I guess. And somebody at the Times loaned me a 4x5 speed graphic camera. And then I worked for an editor at the Times by the name of Johnny De La Vega, and he handled that part of the sports page. And it was a very good experience. They always said to be sure to fill the column with so many lines of comments, make it interesting. Don't slander the newspaper, don't say anything adverse, but make it interesting for the readers so they'll buy a newspaper the next day. And so it was a good learning experience, and the Times was a wonderful organization to work for. The publisher at the time was Otis Chandler of the Chandler family, and I think it was his mother that was involved in building the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion at the Music Center in downtown Los Angeles, the big opera house they have down there. And they have newer ones. They have the Disney Studio now and others, but she was very involved. And the Chandler family and the Otis family dates back into the 1800s in the Los Angeles area here. They're very instrumental in water and politics and a lot of different things over the years. So it was a very interesting experience.
Great, great. Did you have to take any classes prior, or did you also kind of experiment with journalism classes or essays?
No, I didn't take any there or at SC. This is a job I just kind of stumbled into, and it worked out okay. And I was there a good 2 years, and then moved on to other things.
Great, great. Tell me about the jobs that followed after that.
Oh golly, I've been involved with a lot of different things. I'm only 75, so that gives me a lot of time to work at a lot of different things. But I've been been involved in manufacturing of wood products and manufacturing of some metal products for the aviation industry and the missile industry. I've been involved in doing some satellite work. Of course, that's more recently. And in the past, I've been involved doing some agricultural work, raising hay and things of that nature. So a wide range of different activities. And also, as a result of being in the Coast Guard, I was in the Coast Guard in the service, I was able to obtain a Merchant Marine Master's license, which is a captain's license. And so one of my brothers and I went in the charter boat business and operated a number of charter boats up and down the coast here, from all the way from Newport to Long Beach to San Pedro to Ventura. And a boat called the Liberty is my most recent one, out of Long Beach sport fishing down at berth 55. That's a Coast Guard licensed vessel that was rated for up to 129 passengers, and we would take people out sports fishing. And this last year has been a very good year for sports fishing, because a lot of those Mexican fish have come up from the coast, which they normally not here, and so we've had yellowfin tuna, we've had a lot of good species, so we've had a lot of people out sports fishing, because the fishing has been very good. What it's going to be next year, who knows? But with El Nino, the water temperature is significantly warmer off the coast, and that brings the fish further north. And so that's the type of work that I've been involved in, and it's been an interesting journey.
Great, great. Speaking of El Nino, I know that, trees sometimes have been like windy and stuff, leaves falling and stuff. Tell me about the preparations that Southgate has taken for.
We actually put quite a bit of additional money into additional tree trimming this year in preparation for this winter, because we've had a lot of warning. We've been hearing about it for about a year now. And so we did a lot of additional tree trimming. We did a lot of additional cleaning catch basins so the water would be able to flow down into the storm drain system and ultimately to the Los Angeles River or to Compton Creek. Some of the water in Southgate flows down to Compton Creek, down in Compton, and some of it flows into the LA River at Firestone and Imperial Highway area. But with all the tree trimming that we did, this last Saturday, when the wind was really going, and Sunday when the wind was blowing very hard, we did lose 10 full-size trees in the parkways. Now, Southgate has about 17,500 parkway trees. That's the tree between the curb and the sidewalk in front of a home. About 17,500 trees. And we lost, in this big windstorm, we lost 10 full trees where they actually toppled over. They have to be just cut down. Of course, when they topple over like that, it also tears up the sidewalk, and very often the curb and gutter gets damaged. And unfortunately, Saturday night, or was it Sunday morning? I guess it was actually a very early Sunday morning, we had a tree come down on San Vicente Street in Southgate, just north of the railroad tracks, and it took out 3 automobiles. It crashed on them. Now, fortunately, no one was injured. No one was in these cars, and so it was just damage to the cars. But of course, the street was blocked for almost a full day to get it cut into pieces, and then reopen the street and make it safe for people to go down the street. And then we had several other trees, limbs that did a little bit of damage to some vehicles. But fortunately, we had no injuries, which is good because, down in San Diego, a gentleman lost his life in a big tree that fell on a car. And we think that the preparation that we did for El Nino was very helpful. Elsewise, we would have lost quite a few more trees.
I know that people have been mentioning like sandbags. Can you explain what do they do in terms of for the rain?
Well, sandbags can be helpful if you're in an area where the water may come into your home, particularly if you're down by the river, the LA River or the Rio Hondo Channel, which goes right through Southgate. And so the sandbags, the plastic sandbags are available at the different LA County fire stations in our community. And then we have free sand available to fill those bags at Southgate Park on Southern Avenue, at 4900 Southern Avenue in Southgate Park. And we have a pile of sand there that people can come in and shovel, fill their sandbags, and have them ready to block the water or try to divert the water. But because the city of Southgate is pretty flat, we don't have any hills. We don't have the runoff problem that many of the communities up in the foothills have. And so we're in a little better shape, and we have a very good system of storm drains under the streets, which take care of the water. Now, the problem comes up if the LA River gets above 70% full, then the flapper gates in the river close and water doesn't flow into the river. So then it piles up on the streets, and then you get local street flooding, which generally only happens once every 4, 5, or 10 years does that happen. And we haven't seen that yet this year because the rains have been, they rain real hard for a day and then it slacks off. And so earlier this year, at the beginning of the year, we had a pretty good downpour of rain. And we got up to about 28,500 cubic feet per second at Firestone Boulevard. The county flood control people have a gauging station, pardon me just a second, have a gauging station at Firestone and the LA River. And that is rated for about 110,000 cubic feet a second at Firestone. That means the water will be real close to the edge. And the highest we got up to this year was 28,500. So barely a quarter of the capacity of the LA River at Firestone Boulevard this year did we get up to. So we haven't had any tremendous downpours. And of course, it's not the water that falls in Southgate or southeast LA County that's a problem. It is the water that falls in the San Fernando Valley and upstream. If they get a heavy downpour there, it has to go somewhere, and it all comes through the city of Southgate and the city of Bell, Cudahy, all these cities along the river. And so we can have the sun shining very brightly down here and have a lot of water come down the river. And I have seen, I think it was 1983, the water almost came over the top of the LA River. And that is can be a real safety problem because we have the Thunderbird Villa Mobile Home Park on the east side of the LA River between Imperial Highway and Firestone that we would have to evacuate that area if the water got that high again. But I think that the county flood control folks have done a very good job in the last couple of years in preparing for these situations, and they have cleaned out a lot of the 17 catch basins that are upstream. So there's 17 dams north of Southgate, primarily up in the San Fernando Valley and the foothills. And those 17 dams catch a lot of water. And if they don't clear them out, then they don't catch any water, then all the water comes down.
One of the fond memories I have in my childhood is accompanying my great grandmother to one of the parks there. She loved going to the farmers market.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about the farmers market?
Well, it's been very active. It's on Tweedy Boulevard, and it's generally on Monday mornings. And we have different food offer for sale there from different farmers and people that grow things. And it's just a one-day-a-week event, and they have some very good buys there. It's on Tweedy Boulevard, just west of Atlantic Boulevard, on the north side of Tweedy Boulevard, across from a church. And it fills a certain parking lot area, and there are a lot of good things offered there. My wife gets in there from time to time to get some things to try to get me eating more greenery and more healthy foods, which sometimes I'm not as good at doing as I should be, but she works on it very hard.
Great. Tell me about your Parks and Recreation program.
Well, we have a great Parks and Recreation department. We have the main park where the farmers market is located is a little less than 100 acres. And it has lit ball diamonds, it has soccer field. In fact, we have, just in the last several years, Goals Soccer has moved into Southgate Park. And it's a European firm that specializes in soccer on small fields, and it's been enormously successful in Southgate. It's the first one in the United States. And so that has been a real great asset. As a result of them moving into town, by the way, at no taxpayer expense, we moved them into an area where the Tweedy Elementary School was temporarily located for about 14 years. And that also facilitated providing the money for a new set of batting cages for the city of Southgate, for those youngsters that are interested in getting practice on hitting a baseball, which is very successful. But we have an indoor 50-meter swimming pool. We have a full gymnasium. We have a workout room for adults and youngsters that want to work out on all this fancy weightlifting equipment, similar to the different. There's been quite a movement in the last 10 years of people getting more exercise and staying healthier. And so we put that in about 4 or 5 years ago. And we offer a wide range of activities for youngsters and for seniors, for everyone in our community. We have our auditorium in the park, which is limited to about 1,000 people at any one time. So it's a big facility there. And then we have a banquet room there. And we have just a whole lot of facilities. We have our Senior Citizen Center on Tweedy Boulevard. And I think our park is one of the highlights of the city of Southgate for our residents, that is, because it offers a great opportunity. In fact, we have quite literally thousands of people daily that walk and jog around our park, at the perimeter of the park. And I can pass by there at 1:30 in the morning, and there'll be people out there walking around our park. And so getting a lot of exercise, which is good for everyone's health.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about the traditional events that go on, like parades and stuff.
Well, we have the annual Children's Christmas Parade in Southgate down Tweedy Boulevard. It always starts on a Sunday, and just a couple weeks before Christmas. And we have quite a few of the marching bands from our area and equestrian units, and we have the Wells Fargo stagecoaches there. It normally hauls our chief of police in it, and we have just a lot of fun of that. It's a free event. It's been going on for over 75 years now, so it's a long tradition. It's one of the longest standing traditional parades. And of course, for a lot of the young bands, both middle school bands and high school bands, they go on a lot of judging that goes on at different events to get their different ratings for moving up the ladder, you might say. And so we have a lot of bands from all over the Southland participate in that parade, and it's a lot of fun. I've participated in that band since starting in about 1981 in one form or another, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a great event, and we have been blessed generally, I think in that period of years, many years, we've only had rain, I think 1 day or 1.5 days. We've kind of lucked out on the situation with the rain, because rain can really spoil a parade, and we've been very fortunate in that regard. And we're generally the weekend after the Downey parade, and just about, I think it's the same weekend that the Hollywood parade is up in Hollywood. But it's been a lot of fun over the years. Enjoy it very much. And it's put on by our Chamber of Commerce, our businesses, and we get a lot of people out to see that parade.
How about the community organizations like Rotary?
Well, we have the Women's Club in Southgate, which is very active. We have a multicultural women's club in Southgate also. And we have, of course, the Rotary Club, which I'm a member of, and have been since about 1982 or 3. I have trouble remembering that far back now. And we've had different service clubs in our community over years. We've had, of course, the Rotary Club, we've had the Optimist Club, we've had the Kiwanis Club has been very active. And one of the problems that a lot of the cities have is keeping people interested in service clubs, because our lives have gotten so busy with our businesses, our family activities and things of that nature. It is, there are not quite as many people, and I think this is nationwide, at least in Southern California. I don't know about the rest of the country. But it's been difficult, and so you've seen a consolidation. It used to be there was a Rotary Club in Vernon, there was one in Huntington Park, one in Southgate, one in Linwood, one in Compton, Paramount, all the local communities here. And some of those clubs have consolidated because their membership has dropped below, say, 30 people. Now, the Rotary Club in Southgate, back in the 60s and 70s, when we had the General Motors plant going there and Firestone Tire and Rubber producing tires there, we'd have over 100 members in these different clubs. And now we're down to probably 30 to 40 members, maybe 50 members at times. And so, because people move on, different things change, and so it's been a problem keeping folks involved in the different service clubs, which then provide a lot of the funds for different things for our young people in our communities. And I think our Rotary Club, we have our annual Thanksgiving dinner on Thanksgiving Day, and we hold that in Southgate Park Auditorium. And we generally feed, I think this last year it was considerably over 500 folks came and had a sit-down meal served by youngsters from the high schools, the high school football teams, and a lot of the